past the creaky metal gates, through the fog-enveloped graveyard, you find yourself on the rickety old porch of a long-forgotten home. Beyond the threshold sits a man obsessed, a tortured soul, cursed to discover all about the Southern California haunt community and beyond. You have now entered the domain of the Creepcast with Rick Creeper.
All right, we're back at it. This is episode 14 of the Creepcast, hosted by myself, Rick Creeper 11. Pretty excited for this episode because one, I have a revisiting guest who's playing a co-host today, and I have someone too new who I admire for his career that's pretty embedded into the haunt industry, and also I've always dug sound and scores and so forth. My guest today is a man known as Dan the Man, Dan Bieranowski. Did I say that right, Dan?
Yeah, perfect.
He is a haunt attraction sound designer. He's the man behind Mystic Frequency, correct? Also Spooky Vibes Effects, custom effects pedals, and he's a guitar player from the band Pressure Cracks. And my special co-host is the man behind Whole House Haunt, Bill Galvin, via Arizona. What's up, buddy?
Hi, how are you?
Good, how's it going?
It's going good, man.
It's been a while, dude. I haven't seen you since October, so to see you on camera is kind of weird.
Yeah. How do I look? Do I look fatter?
You look
because that's how I feel, Rick.
You look a little emo, the hair. I don't know. It's just like I'm not gonna lie, Dan. I kind of creeped on your Instagram a little bit.
Yeah.
And I came across a picture of you, and I think it was from about 15 or 16 years ago. And you look
sweet.
You look like Trent. You look like Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. I was like
that was a long time ago, a lot less fat, Dan.
It's all right. Hey, I'm no skinny guy myself too. So, Dan, you are a sound designer, correct?
Yeah. I do sound design, recording, production, all that kind of stuff.
So, for the folks at home that don't know exactly what a sound designer do, what does that consist of?
Basically, when you walk through an attraction, everything that you hear has to be recorded and produced in a studio, or basically with recording software or whatever else. So that's what I do. I put together those soundtracks and create sound effects from scratch, or use stuff that I have in a library, like a sound effects library, and put together the overall soundscape of a maze or scare zone or whatever else that might be.
So if let's say I'm walking through the streets of Ghost Town, a scary farm, in the soundscape or the environmental sounds, that's something you've created?
Correct. So everything you hear when you're walking around the park, at Knott's or at Dark Harbor, that's all created by me. The show audio, like stuff that you would hear during the shows, like Elvira's show or something like that, I don't work on that. Those are created by my audio partners at Knott's, Rob Perez and Adam Hankinson. Adam's usually responsible for shows like The Hanging, and Rob was usually responsible for shows in the theater. Cool, right on.
I'm looking at your resume, dude, and it's pretty heavy. I mean, I this is just the stuff I discovered and some of the stuff you shared with me. So it sounds like, well, it looks like more like you've done work in Not Scary Farm, Dark Harbor. Correct me if I'm wrong, too, if I forget some. Los Angeles Haunted Hayride, the Winchester Mystery House, Dark Horizon in Orlando, correct?
Yeah.
Jesus. Murder Cove. And what else? And you literally over 60 mazes, scare zones, and shows under your belt?
You're forgetting the most important one, which is he came over to my garage one time and showed me how to use GarageBand, which I think is his. I think that's his biggest achievement thus far.
I don't put Whole House on my resume.
Let me write that down.
Hey, I don't put it on my own resume, so it's fine.
That's Bill's heavy lifting. Bill became a sound designer extraordinaire.
Oh, dude, I dug it
with a GarageBand.
He's like,
I did pretty good. You showed me how to rip stuff off YouTube, which was that shit would save me a lot of time.
I do not condone stealing other people's content
Well, I
for
mean,
your attraction.
you mentioned that it's a possibility. You know,
Yeah, it's a possibility.
wink, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Type thing. So,
Bill's like, hey man, he's like, come to my man cave. That's my Bill's voice. He's like, hey, come to my man cave. And he showed us on, I think you have a Mac. I'm not sure. And he just showed us how you do the different noises and all that, the sounds and all that.
Yeah, it was the show moment thing, Dan, where the glass would break, remember?
Yeah.
And then I stole the
and then Stone Cold Steve Austin comes walking down the ramp.
It's the Attitude Era. Oh my God. Yeah, so I was looking at your resume, Mo. This guy has gone deep. And you even told me in some of the mazes some of my favorite mazes that we talked about. I mean, you did the sound design for Infected at Scary Farm, Shadowlands, Trick or Treat, which I love, dude. Oh my God, that's just amazing. Origins, and then I had the honor and privilege to work in Feast, which you did the sound design as well, correct? Over at Dark Harbor.
Correct. Yeah.
So you're the reason why I went nuts every night. I'm just kidding. No, I dug it.
I didn't know you did that, Dan.
Yeah, I did every maze that's at Dark Harbor since 2018. So when John Cook did the design, when he took over.
Oh, it was that year. Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
So John wanted to redo every maze there from the ground up. So none of the mazes changed. Like, it was the same 6 mazes as the previous year, but they were completely redesigned from the ground up. So like Feast was there a year before, but it was essentially a new maze because they redesigned it all. So that was all new audio for Feast, B340, Lullaby, Dead Rise, Circus, and Intrepid. I think that's all 6 of them.
Feast was pretty intense. Like the deeper you went into the maze, it seemed like not only the vibe from the actors got a little more intensified, but the music.
Yeah,
and
that was the goal.
That was the goal, because you felt it and you saw up until the grinder area where the guests first meet the chef and they have to go through the oven and the skin room, and they get to my area, which are kind of mellowed out, and then the guests thought they escaped the chef and I'm supposed to be him again. I jump out and I do my camping one-liners and they run away or whatever. But you felt the intensity, not only because of the actors, but the music. The music kind of just like the theme, and it kept you going. It charged you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we found like a nice bit of music that we thought represented the feel of that maze well. And then there's a couple points where we use different parts of that track, to keep it within the same vibe, but some of the parts are more laid back, or even just like a drone or something. And then some of the parts, that particular soundtrack has like really sharp strings, which when it's played, to me, it sounds like you're being stabbed. Like the actual performance of that track sounds to me like
I remember
somebody's getting chopped up.
I remember what part you're talking about. Exactly. I did kind of reference to that movie.
Psycho.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's the vibe I got. I'm not going to lie. I was a chicken shit. I couldn't walk through the entire maze.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, dude. I'm a big pussy, dude. So I would walk through the side doors. Like
you're like 7 feet tall.
Hey man, just a big kid. Come on.
You're a big teddy bear.
Yeah. So I would go to the soon as you walked in, you guys had playing I believe Glenn Miller. It was a loop. It was like the bellhop area. Well, there was a door hit. There was a door hit in there that went directly to the skin room, which led to the stairs to my area. I was like, "Fuck this! I ain't going through there with these fucking animals. They're gonna jump out of corner and scare the shit out of me." Because everyone fucks with each other. Excuse my language. So I was like, "Okay, so let me go through the skin room," and that's where it mellowed out, and it went to my area, and the music, the ambiance, the lighting changed, and that's when kind of the guests were relieved. And I'd hear them. I'm like, "Is it over?" Or the funniest shit I heard, "I think we're under the water now." I'm like, "Oh my God, are you fucking serious?" It's like,
it's awesome.
Yeah, so I actually jumped in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Dan, quick question about the in relation to the mazes and the overall design of the maze. How many different audio tracks would you say you do for one maze? And I know that there's certain times where you have a sound effect. Say you're in a kitchen, it'd be just flies. That's not with the background music or whatever. How many different number of tracks are we talking per maze?
It depends on the technology of that particular attraction. So Dark Harbor, the way that we do audio for that show is a lot of powered speakers with like an MP3 player hooked up. So
Yeah.
an MP3 player is going to give you 2 tracks of audio.
Right and left, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so you might send the right to one speaker
Yeah.
and the left to another speaker, and then that's 2 rooms worth of audio or whatever.
Yeah,
but
I've done that at Whole House.
yeah, so that attraction maybe will only do 6 to 8 individual tracks, which is plenty for the way that attraction works, because you can fill large areas of that ship with one sound. But like a Knott's maze, we have a lot of technology at our disposal. So a typical Knott's attraction is going to be around 24 tracks, but they can go up to 64. So 64
Damn.
individual elements that could either be music playing, or repeating single sound effects, like if you see crows in the corner or something. Like in Pumpkin Eater, you know. Or a jump scare sound, that, you know, that takes up one of those channels. So up to 64, which would be like the highest that we've had. But things like Trapped really pushed those boundaries further when they came out. And each year since, it's the capabilities have grown a little bit more and a little bit more.
How do you come up with like the concept or like the theme for like the score? Well, I shouldn't say score, like the sound design. Are you looking at like storyboards, or you're actually walking through the finished facades, or are you given an idea and you sit in your studio and you come up with something? Or
both, or all 3 of those. Before I do anything, we do like a virtual, like a mental walkthrough with storyboards, usually if we have them done. So let's say like Bill sat down with me and he said, this year for Whole House, I want to do an asylum theme. And so he's like, outside, it's a rainy night, you know, you walk through the front doors and you're in a waiting room, like an old-timey waiting room. And then you pass from the old-timey waiting room into, you know, a crazy serial killer room or something. So he's like walking me through it mentally, basically. If he has storyboards to support that, even better. And we're going down this list of room by room. What do we hear? Is there a music track that kind of ties everything together, so that when you go from room 1 to room 2, it doesn't break up the experience? Or do we want the audio to change when you get into room 2 because it's supposed to be scarier or more upbeat or something? So we go through that and then get an overall idea of the theme for the maze. So like an asylum is going to have a different soundtrack to something that's has to do with aliens.
Honestly, yeah.
So we kind of bounce stuff off of each other. I like to do like Spotify playlists that are shared where we can send tracks back and forth through there. And then that covers kind of the music element of it, which is kind of sets the tone for the attraction. And then I'll build individual spot effects based on what's in each room. So if in the first room we have a monster jumping out to scare you, and that monster is, let's say, a werewolf, I know I need the sound of like crashing, right? Because they're going to jump out, and it needs to sound like a snarling wolf or something. So I'll add those sound effects to it.
I was about to ask you that. So you add sound based on the environment or like the interaction in the maze? Because there was a part in Feast where you see, not to cut you off, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
You see the silhouette of the chef, and he has like probably like a cleaver or something, and he's hacking a piece of meat away, and you hear that thud of him going, you know, with the cleaver goes whoosh.
Sure.
So that's something you add in after the fact?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. So for video effects, and I can't remember off the top of my head if they already had that effect prior to me doing the sound design I did, but for video effects, we'll be given the video, and we'll design audio to that video. So, so for something like that, we would add in those sound effects after the fact. Sometimes, if we're getting close to opening day, the mazes are built or mostly built. So if I need visual, contextual cues, I can actually go walk through it and check it out and see if I get anything from that experience, which can be really helpful. It can also be really scary. Like it could be, 1 a.m. and I'm working on some creepy sound effect, and then like a real good example is, let's say it says that the room is supposed to have like dripping water, but they don't give me more information on that. I'll go look and see if it's like a bathroom scene or if it's supposed to be like a cave, because that'll affect the sound of the dripping.
So you actually
put reverb on it or something like that if it's in a bathroom.
Exactly, to make it feel like you're in the bathroom.
Yeah.
So
with that sound.
Hence the walkthrough. Do you go and check out the environment and kind of narrow down the actual sound you need to create that? Okay.
Exactly. And I'll just use like my iPhone, like my flashlight, from the iPhone, and I'll walk through, and it's dark and super scary, but I'll be able to walk through that scene and get visual context as to how the reverb might sound, to try to make that room a little more immersive. So it's a mixture of like virtual walkthroughs, storyboarding, actually physically walking through places.
Interesting.
And for stuff like Haunted Hayride, I brought my computer with me to Griffith Park, and I'm physically there, so I'm able to make changes or make edits on the fly and deliver those changes to the systems person that's handling programming, like Scott Erickson, who did it for Haunted Hayride. The stuff can be totally mobile if it has to be as well.
Please tell me you were involved with the radio station at Midnight Falls or Hayride in 2019.
Yeah, I did all of it.
So cool, dude. I'm content.
Yeah,
we can end the episode now.
Well, wasn't it like 6 hours, or was it like, what was it, Ted talking for like how many hours?
It's a 4-hour loop, I think. Ted wrote it. It's 55 individual paragraphs of dialogue.
Really? Wow.
That all tie the event together. So you'll hear Ted say something like, if you're hungry, go on down to the Roadkill Ranch and get yourself some food or whatever. So it's all these snippets. And then in between the snippets, I got as much like 80s style synth driven music to kind of fit the vibe of the event, and tied it all together into one long radio show. So Ted and I got together at the 13th floor warehouse, and literally just put a rug in the corner and stood him in front of it, or sat him in front of it, and he just knocked it all out over the course of
that is so cool.
Day.
I would quit my day job in heartbeat just to do that. Jesus. So cool.
I heard some Carpenter Brute at Midnight Falls.
Carpenter Brute. There's some
this guy turned me on to Carpenter Brute and Dance with the Dead. And who else?
Perturbator is in there.
Yeah, Perturbators.
Yeah. There's a dude named Torley, Torley, who is who kind of saved the day. He's a composer from out here, and he put together like 11 or 12 tracks for that thing on commission. Like, I asked him if he could help us out, and I knew he was brilliant with performing like that. So
like synthwave type stuff.
Yeah. So
cool.
If you look up Torley, Torley, he plays all kinds of music because he's like a real musician, unlike us.
Yeah.
And he writes all kinds of music, and what he does is he demonstrates software for companies, like piano software and stuff. So he can play just about anything that's asked of him, and he made it happen for us and gave us a bunch more content so that we could make that thing 4 hours long, without it getting too boring.
Yeah, on Bill's episode, I posted like episode 5 or 6, I don't know, and I was like, what are you listening to right now? And this is my impression of Bill. So and he goes, Carpenter Brute. And I'm like, who the fuck is Carpenter Brute? Dude, they're on my playlist from the gym, and I'm just like, dude, I totally geek out on now. And it's like, yeah, he turned me on.
Great.
Turned me on to a lot of the synth wave. That's just like, and I discovered like Dance of the Dead and then who else? These other bands, and just I'm like, now I follow them on Instagram. I'm like, yeah, because of this guy, I listen to them now. But
yeah,
that's
if you've ever loved John Carpenter and his scores of his films, then you will, and you love a touch of 80s, nostalgia. That's essentially what Carpenter Brute is. Very cinematic, which is what I like about it.
That's another rabbit hole, John Carpenter, we're going to go down eventually. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
When did you start to get into how and when did you also get into start to get into sound design? Like, what was the jumping point where you realized this is what you want to do, or did you go to school for it, or did you just give it an opportunity? Was it a hobby?
It's a crazy story. It's long, so I'll make it quick. Originally, right, I picked up a bass and a guitar when I was 13, 14 years old. And then so I got into songwriting and stuff back then. But I wanted to record music, so I went to recording school in 2007. 2006 when I was 21, 22, and finished school in 2007, started working at Knott's full time as a tech. But I thought I was going to record my friends' bands for the rest of my life. Like, I'm going to be a recording engineer. But then I started recording bands and I realized that I fucking hated it. It was the worst, recording bands like that for me wasn't creatively fulfilling. Instead, I was fulfilling like a technical role rather than a creative role. And so I realized that I missed that creative piece. Now, simultaneously, I grew up going to Knott's. I love Knott's. I got a job at Knott's as a tech, which was, again, just a technical role, running audio for shows and stuff. But I wanted to contribute on a more artistic or design level. So I made sure that the people I worked with and that managed me knew that I had a background in recording, but I also was, wanted to get involved with some of the creative stuff. So they gave me an opportunity in 2012 to do sound design for some of the add-on rooms. So at Haunt, at Knott's, it's a little different than like Universal, where I think Universal doesn't usually bring back mazes the same, like every year. Like they'll do a maze and then they'll not have it the next year.
Yeah.
Knott's will do runs of mazes, so it'll run for 3 or 4 years. Mm-hmm. But each year they may change one room or 2 rooms. So they gave me a couple changes. They gave me a change for a room in the Dia de los Muertos maze.
Wow.
And they gave me a change for a room in Virus Z, which was like a 1950s zombie story that for some reason they lumped Carrie onto. So when you got to the end of Virus Z, there was one room right before you exited that was themed after this Carrie remake that they made in 2012.
Okay.
It made zero sense.
Did they actually tie it to the actual movie?
Yeah. It was a real marketing thing where it was Virus Z with Carrie. And so at the end of the Virus Z maze, you ended up in a school. And at some point you walk into the gym and the gym is having the prom, the Carrie prom.
I don't fucking remember that.
That's weird.
Look it up.
Was it the Carrie remake with Chloe Grace Moretz or whatever her name is?
Yeah.
I never saw it, but it looked terrible.
They're like, we need a room for this Carrie section. Huh. So I
don't remember that at all. That's crazy because I remember The Grudge, obviously, and then but I don't remember them promoting that. Yeah, Quarantine.
Yeah,
and
different quarantine than we're experiencing now.
I have that prop, the head for the little boy from Grudge.
Yeah. So
somebody gave me that. I won't name any names here.
I have no idea.
I don't remember that name, nor I remember Bill's famous laser rage. What was it? The dark. What was it? What did you
want? Dark Realm.
Dark Realm.
This is me and Bill's.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about
notes,
that,
man.
Bill's like, I worked in the Dark Realm laser rage. I'm like, what the fuck is that, dude? I found one video on YouTube, and I was looking for Bill, and for the heart, I couldn't see him, dude.
We're the first 2 monsters in the maze. It's me and him right at the top.
We're going to talk about that. I want some inside stories about Bill's haunting experience. So yeah.
Okay. Well, let me finish with this thought. So they gave me a couple rooms in a couple mazes. I didn't fuck it up too bad, I guess. And so then they offered me, the next year. I think I did kind of more of the same, and then 2014 they gave me like a full maze. So they gave me Infected. They're just like,
really,
John's doing this Infected thing. It's John's first shot at a whole maze at Knott's, and John and I were friends for a long time. So they're like, you work with John on it, and we built that thing from the ground up, and that was my first full maze.
That was Camp Snoopy, right? The first year that it was.
Yeah. So Camp Snoopy, and we did that year. I also worked on Tooth Fairy, that I tag teamed with Adam Hankinson. And so prior to that, so Rob Perez used to do all the mazes, and then Adam did all the mazes and did all the ones that everybody loves, like Asylum and Doll Factory. Adam got to a point where he had to focus so much time and attention on the hanging that he needed, he couldn't do all the mazes. So they're like, Dan, you're going to take over on mazes. So
holy shit. How'd you feel about that when they approached you?
What's that?
I'm sorry. How'd you feel about that when they approached you with that?
It was a crazy thing. It just happened in one night. Adam, and I had already been helping out, and Adam and I went to meet with Laura Hanneman, who was the director of entertainment. And Adam said, look, I need help on X, Y, and Z. Can Dan just move into our department and start helping me full time, basically? And she's like, yeah. And it all happened in one meeting in 10 minutes in front of Laura's office, because Laura had a skill to recognize, talent in people and foster them and mentor them. And now, of course, she has left Knott's and opened the Cauldron, the bar across the street from Knott's.
Yeah,
that's Laura's bar. She runs that whole thing. She's brilliant. So she knows how to cultivate talent.
That place is great.
Dude, the meatballs they have. Have you guys had the meatballs of the Cauldron? They come in like a little cauldron, actually.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yeah, it's great. She's brilliant.
Yeah, the place is the coolest place. Yeah.
So that's how it happened. I mean, it was a long road, but ultimately they, like I said, they threw Infected at me and a few other things. And ever since 2014, I think I was responsible for every new maze design other than Red Barn, which that year I just had too much on my plate. So I think Hankinson did that one along with the hanging.
Wow. What's your most memorable as far as design that you've done of all the places? I mean, going back to your early years up until recent, various locations and venues and whatnot.
Yeah. So that's like a multi-part question. The first is Infected, because it was so like monumental for me. And honestly, it was like the greatest feeling in my life the first time we turned it on and seeing that it worked and it sounded great. I mean, it gave me goosebumps being there. Then Winchester was a big one. Just being alone in that house at night, like nobody around. I built a little miniature studio in a closet, like an unfinished closet in Winchester. So I'm just hanging out in the house by myself doing sound design. It was super crazy. I was there. I did most of the design from home, and then I flew up and spent a week there every night hanging out in the Winchester house, to the point where I kind of learned my way around and stuff. It's crazy. And, we were really cramming to get that event done. So, you go working 10-hour shifts, not eating, forgetting to eat because you're so busy that you forget you haven't had anything to eat. And, living out of like a motel down the street, it was crazy. I remember one of the nights, I didn't even go to sleep. Like we left there, I stayed up all night doing new revisions because I knew once I went home, I would lose, the ability to apply a revision and hear it in person. So stayed up all night doing revisions all night, turned everything in at 6 a.m. so that the build crew that was back in at 10 a.m. had stuff to work with. So that was a big one, and it was just so unique being in that house. The first year that we did Queen Mary was a big one because it's such a crazy venue, and it was so cool, again, to just kind of be there alone in the dark doing design stuff. And then Haunted Hayride. Griffith Park is such a unique place to do any sort of attraction like that. It's just a special place. So
the drive up there and then getting off, I forget the freeway you get off on.
I think you get off on the
it's not the 10, is it?
It's the 2, right? The 2, I think, is Highway 2. I think
it's the 2. I don't know. I hate LA, but man, I like the Haunted Hayride a lot. And
when you get off that off ramp and you're going, I think it's like Crystal Springs, whatever. It feels like you're going to.
Yeah, dude, that's what I love so much about that event. There's nothing that just puts you in that place, that setting, You
drive for a while too, like through the hills, up into the park, and then, we parked there, and it's like, oh, there's no power. You have to work off of generators, and the generators turn off at a certain point at night. So it's like everybody get to work as quickly as possible. I mean, John's crew was there, but like for me, I have a day job, so I'm working my day job. I get off from work, I hop in my car, I drive to Griffith Park, and literally in my trunk of my car, I have a folding chair. I pop out the folding chair, I set my computer in my trunk, and I'm doing sound design while we're sitting there recording voiceovers. Like if you walk through Trick or Treat, at the end there was the Devil's Maze, like in the
what was it
Yeah,
called?
it's supposed to be like a home haunt. It's supposed to be like a joke on a home haunt. And if you listen when you walk through there, you can hear a mom and her kid arguing.
Yeah.
And that's Cliff and Jen, who work for 13th Floor and used to work at Knott's. Literally, we recorded that like all improv in a trailer at Griffith Park, like on the fly. And it's just like they made it up on the spot, and their relationship is so perfect that they could improv a mom and her son arguing about his home haunt. It was so great. So yeah, that was a really memorable one as well.
So when you were at go back to the Winchester house, was this for 2018 when they did, because they have the normal tours, right? The normal, like the guided haunted tour. And they did like, I remember they did a panel at Midsummer Scream, and they were incorporating kind of like a haunt environment, like attraction with the actual haunted tour.
It was a little different than that. So
Okay.
I think this was 2019, and it was called Unhinged, and there was no tour involved.
Oh,
Instead, they did tours during the day, but if you came at night, it was literally a haunt. It was like a walkthrough haunt, but it
Okay.
was 60 minutes.
holy shit.
And it told a whole storyline. The storyline was throughout the years, all this bad stuff happened at Winchester, and how or why is this happening? And the cause was the house. The house was consuming people. So that was the storyline. So you show up, and there was like some bar service there, and there was a 3D mapped projection show on the front of the house.
Mhm.
And then you could enter the house as part of this walkthrough attraction, and you got to go through all these rooms that hadn't been available to the public in the entire history of the home.
Oh, wow.
Like you got to go into the basement of the house, which public was never allowed in, for part of the experience. And it was this kind of mixture of a haunt and a theatrical show where you walk into a room and kind of a show plays out, kind of like the start of Paranormal Inc.,
Okay.
where they have like a show moment.
Uh-huh.
And then you move into the next room, and then there's like a little show in that room. So it was a series of these vignettes, but it was about 60 minutes long. And by the time that it closed, like it went through some growing pains because they had never done anything like that in there before. And there's a lot to contend with in a venue like that. Like you can't have any permanent install of anything because it's a historical home. So everything has to be done in a temporary way.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, and they still ran tours during the day of the house. So so the design had to be acceptable for those walking through the house during the day if they saw some of it,
Mhm.
that it wouldn't be too offensive and stuff.
Okay.
So they had to
Was
walk
this
a
a lot of-
delicate line.
Was it just a lot of audio and lighting, I'm assuming?
Kind of, yeah. But they also would dress up the rooms a little bit. Luckily, a lot of the rooms that they used for this thing weren't part of the tour because they were these like rooms that they don't normally show. So they could dress up the rooms more with like one of the rooms, it was pretty cool. They put like a dummy body in the corner of the ceiling, and they built like a rig that an actor can kind of lay into. So the body was just the waist down. The top half of the body was an actor kind
okay.
of laying over that prop, and they could kind of lean over, and it looked like they were stuck up in the corner of the ceiling. So there was some permanent like stuff like that, but it was only allowed in certain rooms where it wouldn't impact the day show. So it was a complex install, but by the end of the run, it was doing really well. Like the whole show had turned out really well. It's just, to do a show like that for the first time,
Yeah.
it's everybody on this call has been a part of these attractions, and the first few weeks can be tough, especially in a new attraction that's never done anything like that before.
But the fact that you got to do something like that in a historical building that has this history that people travel to go experience it. I mean, you're gonna have that forever. You're always gonna remember it. That's so, excuse my language, that's so fucking cool. It's like you did the sound design for a haunted attraction actually in a home that's notoriously haunted. So not a lot of people
I'll
can
never
say
forget it.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
it's
man. Surprised they didn't. I'm not surprised, but it sucks they didn't let you stay there. You had to go to a hotel.
Yeah. Well, they have a bunch. There's an entire board of directors like for the house. They have.
I can imagine.
Of people kind of in charge that make rules that have to be followed to maintain the house itself and make sure stays in good shape and stuff. But yeah, it was crazy, man. It was really cool to be there, especially at night, especially alone, and to get to kind of feel the vibe of that place. But it wasn't, truth be told, I don't feel like Winchester being alone there is as scary as being alone on the Queen Mary.
There was I had some experiences on the Queen Mary.
I don't believe in ghosts or anything. It's just, but there's definitely like a sketchy feeling being alone on that boat.
There was times I was okay in my little boo box area where I jump out and scare people, and there was times like it was eerie, like even like it was dead silent.
And it can feel really claustrophobic too.
Yeah.
Like some of those areas, there's no windows, there's no ventilation.
Yeah, man. I'm not a big boat fan.
Why do you think I didn't walk through the maze, dude? You're making fun of me. I was like, nope, this place is already creepy as it is, and like all these monsters are gonna jump out and scare the shit out of me. It's like
that's fucking stinky.
Yeah, dude,
stinky on there too.
Yeah, it certainly has a scent.
It has like a gym locker room vibe, like smell. Just like high school.
But that's half of the charm of that. That event is obviously the ship.
Yeah, I think like even Knott's, there's history at these places, and that history tells a story. And so like a huge part of the success of events at those places, I think, has to do with like taking advantage of your surroundings. Ghost Town is such a great scare zone because it's fucking Ghost Town.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like that, and it feels like that, and it smells like that, and it's just like lean into that, take advantage of that area. I mean, one of the best examples of that is the Hollow. Like Camp Snoopy,
I love that area,
turns into the Hollow, and the reason it works is that it's full of trees and it's got caves and stuff.
Yeah, it's got that rock work.
And if you come at night, you're not thinking Camp Snoopy.
Nope.
It just lends itself to that theme, so they just lean into it, and it just works great. I think that's the right way to do it.
About 10 years ago, I used to work for a company that did all the decor, all the Halloween, Christmas decor for like Universal Studios, Disney, and all that. And they did lighting. They did perimeter lighting, and we actually the perimeter lighting at Fiesta Village, I installed that on some of the buildings, and also the buildings, also the banners you see going up Beach Boulevard, or like those lit up signs that shaped like a pumpkin or a cat. I used to install those.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love those things.
So I had to drive a boom truck, and I told them I need a scissor lift, not a boom truck, just like a 30-foot boom a scissor lift. They rented me like an 80-foot boom truck. I needed to drive it down the streets to Fiesta Village. And so I'm driving this thing. None of the guys want to drive this big boom truck. So I'm driving it. So we're installing the perimeter lights, and I have to get on top of the buildings of some of these, top of the roofs of some of these buildings, do these in perimeter lights. And there's the Ferris wheel there, I think. All those lights, I did all that. I think they were recording a commercial for Scary Farm. So we kept hearing screams, and we saw like lighting or something. Something's going on. And I shit you not, I was on this rooftop, and I just didn't feel like I was by myself. I just kept, turning around. I just felt like I wasn't, someone was watching me. And I kept putting my tools on top of an air conditioning unit. And somehow my tools kept ending up on the floor. I'm like, okay, screwdriver rolled off, whatever. I come back, my tool bag was knocked over. I'm like, there's no one else on this rooftop with me. What the hell? Shit was moving. I shit you not. My flashlight flickered once. It went, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go work on this other building. So if you go to Fiesta Village, all those perimeter lights on those, I installed all those, and it's just like,
that's rad.
That was years ago. Now I forget his name. God, he was like the director of maintenance or something. I don't know. And he offered me a job. He's like, hey, we have maintenance guys here. This and this and that. I never heard from the dude. I was like, okay, never mind.
Yeah, there's a lot of people there, especially security guards that I've talked to, like these old timers that have been there a long time that have told me stories where they've had weird experiences at Knott's. I mean, I've worked at Knott's for 14 years. I've never had any experiences like that. I've definitely had times where I felt weird, but like I said, I'm not like big on the paranormal. So, I usually try to think of normal causes, but some people have told me some stuff that it's like, that's crazy. I mean, I've been in Paranormal Inc. at 1 a.m. and I hear footsteps, and then I realize, like, it scares me, but then it's like, oh, it's a cat, like you see a cat walk by or something. So like, there's usually stuff going on at Knott's. There's always people working there. So, I mean, I have no idea what would knock over your bag and stuff, but yeah, I mean, I've heard some crazy experiences.
I always try to write everything. I always try to debunk everything first before I, oh my God.
I think in your case, Rick, I think it's pretty obvious it was Walter Knott himself.
Yeah, probably was.
Shit.
I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah,
he lived in a trailer on the farm. There was a trailer that was still there until not that long ago.
Yeah, he saw this meathead doing electrical work and he wanted to hire him.
Yeah.
Fuck this guy.
He's like,
this isn't going to work
This dirtbag with tattoos, Anyways, I think we're at a stopping point. We're going to take a quick little break. I got a lot I want to talk about. Like, I want to talk about your guys' haunting experience together and Bill back in the day. I want to talk about young Dan with his music influence and playing guitar. I want to talk about the band, and then just you being a freelance sound designer, some other stuff as well. But I think we're going to take a quick little break. This is episode 14 with Dan Bieranowski. Dan, did I say that right?
Yeah, perfect.
So I'm going to keep asking, dude. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And my buddy Bill Galvin from Bill. Did I say that right too?
You said it right, yeah.
Well, dude, because I every time I text you, I always misspell it, and you're like the random joke that we had.
You call me Glavin.
Bill Glavin. Bill Galvin sounds like a relief pitcher for like the Angels or something. I don't know. It's like Bill from the Whole House Haunt and drummer from Pressure Cracks. This is episode 14. We'll be right back.
Don't you dare try to escape. The Creepcast with Rick Creeper shall return.
Once again, we're talking about zombie donuts, guys. Yes, zombie donuts in the beautiful city of downtown Fullerton, California. This is Rick Creeper from the podcast. If you guys haven't been, go check out Zombie Donuts. Gonzalez family's owned and operated Zombie Donuts since 2014. I've been a regular since. It's not, and it's beyond them just sponsoring my podcast. I've been a supporter for them, God, since 2014, which I discovered on my own through my barber. I'm probably there 2-3 times a month, and I'm not gonna lie, I get 2 donuts and a coffee. Let's talk about the coffee. They got different variations of coffees, hot and cold, different variations of donuts. They got standard donuts, they got horror themed donuts. My personal favorite is the Bleeding Heart and Death by Chocolate. And they got some pretty bomb vegan donuts as well. Did you know they had merch too? Yeah, they got some pretty cool merch. So if you're looking for a cool present for a zombie or a donut lover, go check them out. The t-shirts, they're really, really good quality. They got their t-shirts from Tino Evil. If you guys know Tino Evil, same dudes that make t-shirts from Midsummer Scream. Where you been? Downtown Fullerton. Go check them out. Support a small business. Now's the time. Go splurge. Bring home a dozen for yourself. Take them to work. Do what you got to do. Anyways, go check him out. Instagram, Zombie Donuts. Check him out in Fullerton. Tell Rick Creeper from the Creepcast podcast sent you. Trust me, guys, you're gonna dig the vibe. You're gonna like the donuts. I personally like to go early morning. Just a little insider note, so take note of that. Zombie Donuts, Fullerton, California. Scope them out. All right, guys, have a good one.
Where do you think you're going? There is no escape from the Creepcast with Rick Creeper.
Alrighty, we're back at it. Episode 14 of the Creepcast with my guest, Dan Bieranowski, sound designer, and special co-host Bill Galvin from the Whole House Haunt via Arizona. All right, boys, we'll just jump back into it. So Dan, I want to ask you about you ever work in the haunts? Do you ever scare act? I know you were a tech for Scary Farm, but do you ever do any scare actor or haunting?
Yeah. So I went to recording school in 2006. Right before I went to recording school, I worked at Haunt as a monster. I started out as a blackout in a maze, a real not well regarded maze called The Dark Realm with Laser Rage.
Sounds familiar.
And the way that started was the Dark Realm was part of the Inquisition scare zone, right? Was it called? No, it was called the Gauntlet. The maze, the Inquisition was there too. So in the Gauntlet, they added this little area where they called it the Dark Realm, which was supposed to be where like the worst of the Gauntlet got stuck in the Dark Realm. And so then they expanded it to being a maze. And I got a job as a blackout for that maze.
This was 2006.
2006. And I was a blackout, and 2 nights in or 3 nights in as a blackout, one of the monsters quit. And they're like, hey, you want to become a monster? And I said, hell yeah. And then they put me as a monster. I was the second monster in the maze.
Who was the first monster?
The first monster in the maze was none other than Mr. Bill Galvin himself of Whole House Haunt.
And you guys are obviously friends prior, right?
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, I've known Dan since I was basically 15 in high school, from playing in bands and whatnot. And
what are the odds?
It was very serendipitous though, because, and I think up until a couple of years ago, he's been like the only person that has truly cared about Halloween and the haunt industry as much as I have. But it was pure happenstance that, I mean, we would always, we were in separate bands in high school and stuff. And we'd always, we knew who each other were, but we weren't friends that talked all the time. So it was funny as hell that he, I remember him being a blackout. I didn't know it was only 3 days, Dan, that you started scaring.
Yeah, it wasn't even, I don't even know if it was through the first weekend before they moved me. I remember you and I talking about how to make those gloves.
Oh yeah.
How do we make those gloves, And then like going to Home Depot and buying JB Weld and like the little electrical things or whatever.
It's it's a plumber. It's something plumbing.
Yeah. And yeah, so they stuck me in the maze, and they gave us these laser guns, and the whole thing was, if you were like if you're a guest walking through the maze, you could pay $5, and they give you this giant neon green laser gun, and
which totally fit the theme.
Yes, it was post-apocalyptic theme. Everybody looked like a Raiders fan. And then
I was also about to say that.
which ironically, I did have football shoulder pads. Part of my costume.
Like with spikes and stuff. Yeah.
No, I did. It was a spiked mohawk.
That's hilarious.
Mine was like horns, like devil horns on like an old like a face that had turned into a skull thing, and it was so bad. And anyway, so they gave us these laser guns, and they said, if somebody comes through with a gun, like if somebody pays the $5, you're supposed to play laser tag with them. And I told our like whatever they were called, scare captain or
talent captain.
Talent captain. Like, I got a job here. Like, I wanted to be a monster to scare people.
So
I did not want to play laser tag.
So they expected you guys to run around and play laser tag with the guest.
Correct.
I didn't know that.
And
that's crazy.
As the guest is walking through, there were different props that had these targets on them. And if you shot the target, something would happen. Like the monster would pop up, or a little spider skeleton would wriggle around or something. And, you know, that piece of it found itself into Infected. Like in Infected, you could shoot targets and certain things would happen.
Was that kind of
the thing about Infected was everybody got a gun for free, and the monsters didn't try to play the game. They just got killed, you know.
Correct me if I'm wrong. In Infected, were there upgrades on the guns as you went through the maze?
Yeah, like if you scored enough points, your gun would upgrade. Like, you know, if you got enough headshots or something, like your gun would become more effective, basically.
Yeah, I remember there was like an audio cue, like it said like flamethrower or whatever. Yeah, okay.
There was like, I think it would change how the ammo worked and stuff, but in Dark Realm, it was literally just this giant neon green thing that you could never hide from anybody, because you're supposed to be a monster, but you have this like 3 foot long, 1 foot wide rifle. So we would take those. There were these big prop trash cans that were drilled into the ground, and I would stick my gun, like literally walk into the maze the first second of the night and hide my gun behind this barrel so I could scare. And with my stupid clicky gloves. And
how was Bill as a monster in this maze? I'm trying to imagine this.
Great. I mean, Bill's a good haunt guy. Like, he's good at everything when it comes to haunt. I just remember we heard the same 15-minute music loop all night long. And so Bill's a drummer. So at a certain point, it's like there's these big plastic drums, and he's got clicky gloves on, and there's nobody walking through our maze because it's the worst maze, and it's hidden. It's over. It's where
Cornstalkers was, if you remember that.
Okay.
Kind of by where Shadowlands was.
Okay.
But the way you got there was different, and it was more towards Fiesta. It was like in Fiesta. So that trail where the train tracks went goes further down into Fiesta, and that's where the maze was. So Bill's playing drums on the big plastic thing with his clicky gloves to this music loop that we keep hearing all night, every night. It wasn't even bad music. It's just, that's all we heard.
That's all you guys heard the entire night.
And yeah, we got stuck right next to each other, so we got to kind of hang out when it was slow, and it was slow a lot because our maze was really bad. I remember there was like a riot one night, and there was cops running in and out of the gate right there.
What the fuck?
The gate, you could see it if you're on La Palma, because it's right by the crosswalk where they have the horses walk across.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So they open that gate. It's by the Dragon Swing, and there's literally cop cars coming in. It was crazy. It was a weird experience, and I remember a lot of our monsters were from the Carnival of Carnivorous Clowns maze, which had retired the year before. And so we were supposed to be like the shit maze, like super good monsters and talent, and you know, we did our best to elevate the theme, but it was obviously thrown together. I remember we pulled Scarecloth off the wall to put on our costumes to make us look a little cooler, because we just looked like douchebags. It wasn't great.
I'm trying to picture Bill. Like I can hear his voice, and this is what I hear. Like, you know, this is my impersonation of him. I just hear Bill be like, I jammed to the Allman Brothers, or he'd be like, it's rad, I'm telling you. And then he'll say,
"It's a good Bill."
And he's like,
there was nothing rad about that maze.
It was not. I would not say that it will go.
It wasn't even a
history.
maze. I wouldn't even call it a maze. There was. It was all open.
It was open with facades, right? Just like partition walls. Okay.
They had some, flats and whatnot, but essentially you're just walking down the stagecoach trail.
Yeah, it was open air with some props. And I remember there were two major problems with that. One was that there were spiders everywhere because it was literally lined with just normal plants, and there were bees. There were bees there when I would get to my like spot for the night. You know, when Haunt starts at like 7, it's not that dark out yet, especially early in September and early October.
Right.
And there's just bees. And I'm like, great, at least I'm in a costume so they can't get me. It's crazy. And then, so that was a shit maze. And then I did it for 1 year, and I was like, I never want to be a monster again. I didn't enjoy it that much. But I do like the technical side and the design side. So the next year when I joined Knott's as a tech, ever since then, I've only worked on that side of things. I haven't been a monster since.
Not even like one night hopped out there?
No. I honestly, it was fun to scare people, but the process of like getting into makeup and then like having to be in character and stuff, I'm just not good at it. I'm not a good actor. Like, I have to do voice acting for some of the parts in mazes, and every time I walk through them, I cringe because I'm just a shitty actor. So it just doesn't work out well for me.
I'm kind of the same way, though. I mean, that's why, like, you know, I think I scared a little bit 1 year, but it's just, yeah. I mean, I would much rather be the one, you know, making the stuff, designing the stuff, and just sitting back and you know, kind of just watch it happen.
Yeah, I'm sure if I told John, like, hey, one night can I scare at Hayride or something, he would be totally on board. He'd probably enjoy watching me make a complete ass of myself.
Only if you commit to the costume from the Dark Realm, like it's revamped or something.
It's so bad, like, man. It's just a bunch of Raiders fans hanging out on a stagecoach trail,
and just like UV lights.
I think I have a picture somewhere. I could probably track that.
You found a video, right?
I saw one YouTube video, and it was like, I don't even think it was like a cell phone. It was like a camcorder.
Yeah.
Well, this is 2006. We're talking.
Yeah, so it's like it was someone's like RCA, you know, camcorder on their shoulder probably, or a little Sony cam. And I was like, this is the shittiest fucking maze. I was like,
Rick West was recording video of mazes then.
Theme parks, yeah.
So he probably posted that video, or he probably has some video somewhere. But yeah, it was not a good maze. I think the same year they were doing the Grudge maze. Bill, you can correct me if I'm wrong. And so it was like super incredible maze just right around the corner. And all I remember is, as the run went on, caring less and less about the rules, caring less and less about the experience, to the point where we're literally pulling the tops off the trash cans and running and sliding on them because we were not quote unquote slider approved or whatever back then. We didn't have knee pads or anything, so we just slid on the tops of the trash cans.
Wow.
Which would be instant firing. But luckily Craig Harold wasn't walking through our maze every night or even every hour, because our maze sucked and nobody cared what we did.
Yeah, I was like, I think at the entrance to the maze, for a good amount of the night, just working the line, which you're not supposed to do.
Just working the queue, just being a street
running
monster.
And sliding on the top of a trash can. What other mazes did you work in, Bill? Because I know you worked in Delirium, Las Vegas, right?
Las Vegas.
Yeah, I did. 2008 was Las Vegas, because I was playing music, so I would if I wasn't on tour, I would do it. Las Vegas, and which, going back to the audio, having to hear the same track. The Dark Realm was second place to having to hear Viva Las Vegas on loop for 8 hours a night or whatever it may be. But so 2008 was Las Vegas, which was great. I had a blast that one. It was the last year, and kind of the same thing where the town captains and whatnot, they didn't really care too much, so you had a lot of freedom. Plus, I don't know if we were short staffed, because I was working like 3 or 4 rooms.
Oh wow!
No, for real. Like, the whole front of the maze, like I was just running around.
What'd your character look like?
It was. I actually made the costume myself, because you know how Knott's used to be with costumes and masks and stuff. They've definitely stepped their game up there. But I went to the freaking Goodwill or something. Just got like a black vest, and then hot glued some scare cloth on it, and then just a white shirt. I just look like a card.
Like a card dealer.
fucking,
I remember you said that.
Yeah, a card dealer or something like that.
Did you have a mask on?
Yeah, so I went out and bought my own mask. I have a picture of it.
You sent me the picture a while ago, and it was the same.
Yeah, you saw it. No, it's the same mask. I sent you the picture from Delirium.
Yeah,
but it's the same. That's the same mask.
Was that skeleton-looking mask with the? Didn't you have a mask that looked like, I don't know, like a skull with teeth or something?
No, not that I recall.
I can't remember.
No, it was like some zombie
shit you have.
It was some zombie guy with a fucking bulging eye or whatever it was.
Great.
Yeah.
So you didn't have any makeup on at all?
No.
Just hiding under a mask. Wow.
And then what's funny is I don't know how I got it, but I had a little Knott's Berry Farm name tag that said Bill on it, so I thought I added that to my costume.
Nice.
Nice. And then 2011 was Delirium. So 06, 08, and 11.
Oh, so you didn't work straight through that period. You picked.
No.
You took years off in between.
That's why I never got cool with all the clicks.
Yeah,
the Knott's clicks.
Maybe someday, pal.
I know. I
Bill's too cool.
Be, cool to be in a click.
It was too cool to be clicking.
I was talking to Rick about it yesterday. We were chatting about the clicks. I've worked at Knott's a long time. That stuff's dumb. That stuff's whack. Like, nobody cares. Just make cool shit. Be a cool monster. Do a good job. That's what matters.
Me, I've always just go in, do my thing, do my job, and go home. It's
absolutely.
It's a job. It's a fun job, and it's like my job is like
it's entertainment. Man.
It's entertainment.
You're a talent, and you.
It's like I do what I got to do and go home. It's like, and then people I bond with, there's a reason. I mean, it's like I've had people praise me for what I've done in the short amount of time I've been doing this, and I've had people tell me like, well, if you worked the full season, you probably get more notoriety. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? But then I had someone who's gonna remain nameless, who worked at Haunt forever at Knott's, and he straight up told me directly in a message on Instagram, so you do what you got to do. You do what you want. Who cares what everyone says? Have fun. Go out there, entertain. He's like, fuck the clicks, fuck this, fuck that. He's like, you have fun, and you'll see who's worthwhile making friends with, and those friends become family.
I think that's one of the things that, like, places like Midsummer Scream and stuff are helping a lot with. I think there's like a really nice sense of community now that required some leadership to help us get to that point where it's not all cliquey and weird. Like, you can go to Midsummer Scream and talk to anybody, and everybody's super cool and super friendly, and it's not a popularity contest. It's just a bunch of people that love the same stuff hanging out and enjoying themselves, just like we are on this podcast, So like, I think all the folks involved with Midsummer Scream kind of taking control of that event and bringing the Southern California kind of haunt world together has made a big difference in making everything feel more inclusive and everybody feel more more accepted, no matter if they're a rookie or they've been around forever, or they're or if you throw a bunch of
shit on your front lawn during October and call yourself a haunter.
Insert whatever, like underappreciated group here. It's like at a place like that, everybody gets love, everybody's cared for, and that's what I like about those events. And I think when Bill and I were monsters, like in 2006, I did not feel that way. Like, I felt like we were not treated as part of the family or whatever, despite everybody else acting like it's this whole family and there's no judgment. I didn't feel that way, so it took, I think it took some time for the bad apples or like the people with shitty attitudes to get weeded out. And it's a lot better now, people that are involved now are way more inclusive. And
it does seem that way, because you've let me, somebody who shall remain nameless has walked me backstage a few times during a night, and it seems a lot different back there.
Yeah, for sure.
I will say this: in the short time I've been, I was always hiding in the shadows as a fan. Going to when I was a kid, teenager, 20s and 30s, and when I got into this industry in 2018 on a whim, a lot of cool people, and the people that I've met that either know you, Dan, or they through association or like close friendship and so forth, and Bill as well. They have nothing but good things to say. So it's like, if the people you surround yourself have nothing but good things to say, or people or slight acquaintances have nothing but good things to say about you, it's like, what does that say? You know, that just
good. I'm glad.
I mean, they speak very highly of you.
Anybody who wants to talk about this stuff, anybody who's interested in learning about audio stuff, anybody who wants to talk about haunt stuff, or just talk about haunt history and nerd out, like, I'm happy to talk to anybody about this stuff. I love the industry. I love talking about this stuff. So it's cool to even do podcasts. Like Bill and I, if we hang out, this is what happens. So it works out pretty well. Geeks.
Yeah.
We will take over the band meeting practice.
So Dan, who did you take influence from, like, you know, prior to you doing sound design? I mean, were you into like someone like a John Carpenter who composes all his own scores for his movies, or someone like let's say like a James Horner, which I can remember the name the other night. He did like The Mask of Zorro and Titanic and so forth, or just like someone like Ian. Oh my God, what is his last name? He did the Sherlock Holmes movie for Guy Ritchie. He does a shit ton of Guy Ritchie movies.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head. But...
Or like a Danny Elfman, or just guys like that. I mean, did you take like influence from those guys? Was it like just music in general? Was it scores to movies? What was it?
I think John Carpenter is a big one, because I think he didn't just create music. He also created, like, if you listen to the sound effects in Halloween, like that little, like those little jump scare noises and stuff, that stuff's really influential. But also bands, like normal band music, like not even just composers, but like Philip Glass, who they use his music in a lot of movies, but he's like a straight musician. Or like Explosions in the Sky and bands like that.
Wow, I haven't heard them in a while.
Like that stuff evokes feeling, you know, like even though it's just like a band, it works as a soundtrack as well. So a lot of stuff like that. But honestly, like the biggest influences for what I do sound design wise is like Adam and Rob at Knott's. You know, like they taught me so much, because I came out of recording school like knowing all the latest greatest technology and tricks and stuff. And you know, when I met them, I'm like, what are you guys doing? You using the super old version of Pro Tools, or you're not doing this, or you're not doing that. Like, you don't know these keyboard shortcuts to make your job more efficient. And they're just like, okay, like, let's see what you got, you know? And then it's like, oh shit, like I need to do sound design that can be heard over a roller coaster that goes by every minute, or it needs to work in this room but not impact the show, like the scene that's in the next room over. Like, how do you design for these unique circumstances that mazes provide, especially in a theme park? That kind of stuff you can't learn at recording school. You only learn it from
hands-on, pretty much
your own experience or other people that are more experienced.
Okay.
So yeah, so that they're big influences for me.
So what was a young Dan as a teenager playing guitar? What were you listening to?
I listened to a lot of Deftones.
Okay.
I liked a weird mix of stuff, because I like nu metal a lot. Like, I was a teenage boy and I was grumpy. And then when I was the summer between 8th and 9th grade, when I was 13, my buddy Casey gave me a Zayo CD and a couple other things, and I got into like hardcore and stuff like that. And then I started listening to, you know, all the local hardcore bands, 18 Visions, Throwdown, Bleeding Through, stuff like that. And then you know, started going to shows at Showcase and Chain Reaction. And then
wow, the Showcase Theater. Wow.
Yeah, so that's how Bill and I met. Was like, I was playing hardcore in like these hardcore bands. Bill was playing drums in a band, and our bands played together, and we would play like backyard shows together,
which were the fucking best.
They were awesome. And we played one at one of Bill's early girlfriend's houses, and the fucking riot police came.
What?
The helicopter came, riot police came marching down the street. It was crazy. There was a fight between
my
like
brother
all
got
these
punched in the face.
all these hardcore kids and all these fucking rednecks that were celebrating 4th of July and lighting shit on fire. We just wanted to play a show in our friends' like backyard, but you know, there's just tension between those two groups.
No, it's 4th of July, and there was booze involved too.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but it's like a bunch of 30-year-old dudes and a bunch of us 17, 18-year-old kids. And we're playing like pretty aggressive music, so that probably didn't help, you know. And then and then the riot police came in, shit. It was crazy. But then we started playing music together. Like we lived real close to each other. And then we've been in a bunch of bands together now, but the most current one is Pressure Cracks, which is the one that's probably been the most popular that either of us has done.
You guys recently hit 1 million plays on Spotify, correct?
Yeah, we're doing pretty well.
I saw that. Pretty cool. Congrats.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like we're old fucking tired old men. And
don't forget I'm older than both you guys, so you know.
Everybody in the band has kids other than me. You know, we have my wife and I have dogs, but everybody else has 2 kids or more. And yet you know, we still like to play this loud, aggressive music, and probably exercises some demons. And yeah,
it's probably more fitting now.
Yeah. Yeah, and people have dug what we're doing, which is cool. You know, you can listen to that stuff on Spotify or whatever.
What age did you start playing guitar at?
I was like 13, 14 years old. I got a bass for my 13th birthday, and then I got a guitar not too long after that. And I knew I wanted to play like more aggressive music, but I was shit at it, and I'm just now starting to get more decent at it at 35.
See, I give Bill shit because he's like, I'm all right drummer. I'm like, dude, you're in a band, you're doing it. It's like what you guys are doing. A lot of people always dreamt of or don't have the nerve to actually step behind a kit or step behind, you know, a rig and actually tour and go in the studio. It's like, yeah, people envision it, but would you put in the work? No.
Yeah. Well,
so give yourself some credit. I mean,
and Bill's full of shit too, because like he's the most talented musician in our band. And we just
thank you.
Hardcore is like 90% what the drums are doing, and then the rest of the stuff is like nobody gives a shit what the guitar actually sounds like. You know, it's like, is the drums doing a heavy beat or are they doing a fast beat? Like that's what matters.
I saw a video. I don't know. It was one of you guys. I think Bill posted it. When you guys are in studio, and then I think Bill's just getting warmed up behind on this kit, and you hear him say, "Hey, how's those salads? Hey, how those salads?" And he's
Dan took that video.
I'm like,
yeah, we were recording at a studio called Hybrid that's not there anymore in Santa Ana. And you know, you're there all fucking day. And for drums, it's the worst because like you record, you play like the kick drum, just the kick drum over and over again for like an hour while you dial in all the settings for the kick drum.
Right.
Then it's the snare drum.
Right.
Then it's the first tom, then the second tom, then the overheads, then the hi-hat.
I think he was hitting one of the toms and he's like, "How's those salads? Hey." And he's like,
and everybody's eating, you know, and you could see through the glass. And we're all just enjoying ourselves, and he's in there hitting a fucking floor tom for an hour waiting for, and we're just like, hit that floor tom some more, Bill.
Yeah,
like as if he doesn't
munching.
know. He's been doing it for 45 minutes. It's the worst, man. Being a drummer was the worst decision you could have made.
I know.
That's hilarious. What I'm tripping on is like, you go from playing in a band, and you go from working in like in the haunt industry and doing sound design. It's like, it's somewhat incorporated because you're creating art. It's an art form. It's being creative. It's just how they migrate, but at the same time, they're 3 different worlds. I mean, you're doing you're doing the pedals through Spooky Vibes FX. I mean, you're playing in a band. You got a full-time gig. You're married. You're doing sound design for the haunts. It's like, how in the hell did you end up doing all this at the same time? It's like, it's crazy.
If I'm not busy, I flip out. I think I have some serious neuroses. You know, so like if I have downtime, I like to fill it with things that are productive but are fun, right? So like I have a day job and then I do all the sound design stuff and knots and stuff on the side. And if I didn't get paid to do any of that stuff, I'd still do it anyways because it's a hobby. It just happens to be a hobby that I get paid for most of the time. But I do it for I would do it for free if I didn't get paid, kind of thing.
Okay.
And what I like about it, the thing that's fulfilling about it, is that at the end, you have this product. Like it opens. Like, let's say Bill works on Whole House for 6 months trying to get that shit put together. And then one night it opens, like people can come and see it. And he turns the lights on, he turns the fog on, he turns the audio on, just like we do at Knott's. And that moment, like that night, all that like teamwork, everything we've done together, everything everybody's worked on, or Bill and his fucking kids and his wife and the sacrifices that they make as a family so he can do that stuff, like it all comes together in that one moment. So
don't give them any credit. Don't give my family credit. They don't.
Family get no credit.
They put up with a lot of shit.
They don't help with a damn thing, man.
And so
no, I'm just kidding.
So that stuff means a lot to me, like that teamwork, right? And it being in a band is similar. We work together, we fucking fight, we argue, we come up with different ideas, we go through a million revisions, and at the end there's this thing, and then you open that thing or you unleash it on the public, and you hope anybody cares, and sometimes they don't, but when they do, it means a lot. And then and then we started this quarantine thing because of COVID, and I couldn't go do all those things that are so fulfilling, like have band practice and do sound design stuff, because Knott's wasn't gonna do Haunt last year. And so that's when the pedals, the Spooky Vibes Effects pedals thing happened, because I needed a way to spend time. It needed to be small enough that I can do it in the house because I can't leave. And I could do it any time of day or night, because if I can't sleep, I like to work on stuff like that. And at the end of it, I have a tangible thing. Like I put my time into putting something together, and at the end it worked, or it didn't work and I learned something. But I'm not a big like video game guy, other ways that people are spending their time. So this was what I did. And it's been really cool. Like, it's been fun to build stuff for my friends or whatever. And, anytime I turn one on and it works, I get a little bit of that feeling like the night that Haunt opens, where it's like you turn it on and the shit turns on and it works.
You're getting that fulfillment. Okay, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not the same, but it's something.
I'll definitely put links in the description of the podcast where they can find your pedals, they can find your music and everything. And these are for sale, correct? You're not just doing them as a hobby. You're actually selling these. Correct.
Yeah. So the pedals are for sale, and people can hit me up and ask for something like they want specifically.
For those that don't know, like people who just bang on drums like myself, a pedal is you plug your guitar into it, you step on it, and it makes a different noise. Correct, Dan? Do you care to elaborate?
That's a really good point. So a guitar pedal is something that you use with a guitar to create an effect. So like
you get reverb or like a distortion and so forth. Okay.
Like when you hear a rock guitarist hit their guitar and it sounds really fucking huge and distorted.
Sounds really rocky, he's rocking out.
That'll be from a pedal or from like the amp or whatever, or delay or reverb or fuzz or whatever. Yeah. So anyways, so those are for sale, and I don't charge a lot for them, and people can hit me up and ask for something special. I make clones of stuff too. So if somebody's like, I want a tube screamer, which is a certain popular kind of pedal.
And these are all hand built, custom. You could do to spec or to like what's the word I'm looking for? To spec. Like, hey, I need a pedal. I want a pedal, a wah-wah pedal, or I want some of the reverb or something.
Dan, you just did something for the guitarist in Mastodon, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Really?
Yeah, like it's a crazy thing. I have a mutual friend with Bill Kelleher, and who plays guitar in Mastodon, and he basically asked Bill, what would you want? And Bill let us know, and I built him a couple things and sent him over to him, and he posted about it on his Instagram and stuff, which is crazy. It's just so fucking crazy. Like, I haven't been doing this very long. I started doing it in like the middle of last year. So to be able to build something cool for somebody like that and have them not be like, this thing fucking sucks, but be like, this sounds great, is pretty cool. And yeah, so he wanted an Ibanez Mostortion, which is a MOSFET distortion that isn't made anymore, you know? So it's like, it's not made anymore. You try to buy it on the used market, it costs way too fucking much. So people can hit me up for stuff like that. I built a thing called Space Ring. It's made by Death by Audio, which was a pedal for the Flaming Lips, the band The Flaming Lips.
Okay.
And they discontinued the pedal a while ago, and if you try to buy it used, it's like $600, you know? And nobody should spend that much. So it's like, hit me up, I'll make you one for $150 or
That's
whatever.
cool. You can make clones of like discontinued pedals or like specific pedals people are looking for.
Yeah, put them in reach of people who can't afford to buy an original, because it's just like, that's not what making music's about. And like, people shouldn't be limited on their creativity or their ability to do something because something's priced out of their range because it hasn't been produced in years, you know? Circuits, like all these guitar circuits are based on just a few old school designs, you know, that people have added little modifications to. So, you know, you can build all kinds of cool shit off of these old school classic designs, which is really neat thing. You know, it's kind of like a haunt, actually. Like, if you think about mazes, they're kind of based on a few kind of key concepts, right? You have like a haunted house, you have like a hospital, like an asylum or whatever. You have like you know, carnival. Like, you have these basic themes that everybody takes and modifies to their own taste, and it makes it something special or different, you know?
I get it. Yeah, I totally get it.
Yeah.
So what's next for Dan the Man? What do you got planned? I know it's only February of 2020, but anything on the back burner, on your plate, as far as like sound design, the band Pressure Cracks, making more pedals with Spooky Vibe effects?
There's a few things. We're working on a full length for Pressure Cracks, and we have a single. We're working on a single first, then we're gonna do a full length, and then you know, for sound design stuff right now, like, we don't know what's gonna happen, right? It's February 2021.
Yeah,
people are doing the right thing and getting the vaccine or whatever, so that we can reopen all this stuff that we want to do down here in California. And like, Knott's just announced that they're opening up again for Taste of Boysenberry Festival. Last year we did Taste of Calico, then Taste of Knott's, then Taste of Halloween.
So
and
cool.
These were events that people could go to and walk around the park and experience kind of the ambience of Knott's Berry Farm with no rides turned on. It's just kind of walk around the park and eat food. It's like a food festival. So they're themed for the season. So we did one for winter, and it was only open for about a week because we had to close things up because the COVID cases were spiking in California.
I remember that. I was lucky enough to get in there.
Yeah, we made it. Me and the girlfriend barely made it like the last weekend. So for Berry Farm.
Now Knott's, there was no like super spreader events that were traced back to Knott's or anything. They do a really good job of making sure that everybody's safe. You have to go through temperature detectors and all kinds of stuff, but once you get in, you know, you wear a mask, you stay socially distanced, and things work pretty well. We are reopening that in a couple weeks here,
Nice.
First week of March.
I'm definitely going.
Yeah, and that's going to run March through the start of May. So working on that stuff now, right, to get the park open. And we have all hope that we can do some form of a haunt this year. Same thing goes for all the other events I work on. Dark Harbor, LA Haunted Hayride. These events that we weren't able to have last year because of these circumstances that we're in. And as for the pedals and stuff, it's just, you know, I'll keep making stuff as long as time permits. I have a day job, then I have the night job, then I have the band and all these other hobbies that I have because I'm a fucking psycho.
Man of many hats.
Yeah, I've got some real problems.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You created a few playlists for Spotify for some of the music for Scary Farm, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So if anybody wants to get kind of the feeling of what it's like to be in a scare zone at Haunt at Scary Farm, and we couldn't go last year. You can go onto the Spotify page for Knott's Berry Farm, and you'll find playlists for different seasons, including Haunt. So we put together a Haunt playlist for each of the scare zones. So Ghost Town, Carnival, the Hollow, and also like the main gate area, which is like kind of a standard Halloween hits playlist. So it's like Dead Man's Party and Thriller and Bark at the Moon and stuff like that. We also put together like a kids playlist so that if you're with your family, it's more appropriate. So that has like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and things like
Yeah,
that.
dude. We were playing that like a lot during October, like for the kids when we'd be outside and stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's all stuff that I put together. We also put together stuff for Christmas. We put together stuff for
Did you do the Halloween playlist?
yeah, the Taste
That's
of
the one.
Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
Is that the one? That's the one you're talking about, right?
Well, I'm talking about all of them. The scare zones and
Yeah.
and he did one.
I did all of them. Yeah. So all of the Knott's playlists that they have right now that are related to any season, I put together.
I'm not gonna lie. At work,
Go-
I'm sorry, Bill. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You first.
Every day at work, I was listening to like the Scary Farm playlists, and then like at the gym when it was open, or at home, or when I was working at Michael's Haunt 1870. I was listening to the car. Me and the girlfriend, she's a big spooky geek like me. We're literally listening to that on the way to Halloween and like the soundtrack and everything. And I was like, dude, damn, the man made this. And I really didn't know at the time. It's like I knew you loosely without an introduction through Bill, and I was like, dude, he made all this. And like at work, when I'm supposed to be like working on equipment, I have my earbuds in and I'm listening to this, the playlist from like Carnival or whatever,
Yeah, and I mean, it's worth noting that for those scare zones and stuff, I work on so much stuff every year. There's no way that I could compose all these tracks that are needed. So I use stuff from movies, TV shows, and all that. So those playlists are like compilations of different things that I found throughout the year that suit the theme that we were interested in. But I do want to make sure that people realize when you go listen to those playlists, check out the artists that interest you and support them however you can, because they make this stuff that makes these events so cool for all of us. And I'm happy to collate all that information and put it together, all those songs, and make cool playlists. But other than here and there, I typically don't compose the music for some of these events. I use other people's great work, and I do think it's important that they all get recognized and get love for that, and hopefully get enough plays that they can make a few pennies, because it is Spotify and you don't get paid anything.
I'm not gonna lie, the exit to the Trick or Treat maze, that what you played there, we talked about this yesterday. When I heard that, I was like, whoever played this is a genius, because I love John Carpenter, and that track, it was amazing. So
What
yeah,
was it?
for
I
any,
don't remember that.
it was Bela Lugosi, that John Carpenter track, Bela Lugosi.
From his solo album.
his Anthropology, yeah.
Yeah. So what Rick and I discovered, Bill, is that Bill and I went to go see John Carpenter live, and on that same tour, Rick saw him at the Grove in Anaheim. Bill and I went to LA and got to see him perform all these different scores and stuff, which was incredible.
So cool.
Yeah. And so we all went to the same performance, just in
Same
different
show,
venues.
different locations.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, Dan. Just real quick on those
go ahead.
playlist. I loved when you came out with those, because I remember myself being in like 7th grade, and I'm trying to build a haunted house, and always obsessed with Knott's, and obviously Theme Park Adventure was real big, and it was big to me, I guess. And just, is it Theme Park Adventure? Ultimate Haunt. Okay, Ted's that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Ultimate Haunt.
So I will say, Rick, what he did in Theme Park Adventure, I will interrupt for 1 second. So Rick did Theme Park Adventure, which was like a haunt review site where he did a ton of video content every year. He was the only one really doing that. And if you go on YouTube and you look up old haunt footage, a lot of that stuff is due to Rick's hard work. And then Ted Doherty, who ran Ultimate Haunt, covered a bunch of history for Haunt on his site, including old maze or old maze info and old maps, like screenshots of old maps.
So cool.
And Ted is the one who wrote and performed all those treatments for MFAM radio at Haunted Hayride. He works with John a lot, so I work with Ted all the time now. And it's crazy to think, as a kid, as a teenager, I spent so much time on Ultimate Haunt and on Theme Park Adventure, and then to get older, grow up more in this industry and get to work with Rick or work with Ted on different things. It's such a rad feeling, and they're such great people. Ted released a book about Halloween Haunt history that is absolutely incredible. So if you don't have it, make sure you buy it.
Yeah, Bill talked about that on his episode. And just to be clear, not me, it's Rick West, just in case everybody's listening at home.
Oh, yeah. So, and Rick West, Theme Park Adventure, he works setting up Midsummer Scream with a team there. So, like, both of them spent 20 plus years, 25 years covering Haunt every year, or working it in Ted's story. And now both of them still work in this industry, still work at the highest level, putting on, incredible events. It's so rad to even know them or get to work with them. And, it's inspiring and makes me hope that all of us can keep working on this stuff as we get older too.
I just got to start making some money off it first,
Good luck.
Right. No one does this for the money.
What I was going to say about the playlist was, I remember going on ultimatehaunt.com, and I remember at one point Ted had not all, but he had some of the tracks for some of the mazes on there, and it was super interesting. And I remember getting on LimeWire, downloading some of these crazy tracks just to play in my little black plastic haunted house in 7th grade.
So rad. Let me tell you one crazy thing that I always think about when I talk about Haunt audio. When Rob and Adam were doing the sound design stuff for Haunt alone, they would have to go to Tower Records. Wow. They had like a company card and find CDs that they thought might be good for Haunt and buy them and bring them back to Knott's and hope they had something that worked for the maze. You couldn't audition music, It wasn't like you could.
That explains the soundtrack to was it Underground?
Yeah,
it's a bunch of fucking Rob Zombie or whatever
stuff. Yeah, it was like it wasn't like today where I can go on iTunes and listen to 30-second clips of songs, and if I like it, I buy it and download it and I have it. Or on Spotify, I can find stuff throughout the year. Like I'll watch a movie and I'll be like, oh, this sounds cool. Go on Spotify, grab the soundtrack, throw it in my Haunt folder for that year, because I create a running folder all year long for any time I hear something that inspires me. They had to go to the store, buy the CD for like $17 and hope one of those tracks worked. Then pull it into Pro Tools or whatever they were working on at the time. And,
that's funny.
Try to make that work out as a maze.
Do you guys remember the Tower Records used to be around the corner from Knott's?
Yeah.
That's where they probably went.
Yeah. And it's so crazy, like I can't imagine having to go through that and the technology they had to work with. When I first started at Knott's, when I first started doing tech stuff, I remember on Haunt nights going into the kind of bowels of the mine ride, and there was a mixer on the floor with like 2 CD players or 3 CD players, and you had to switch the music from like the mine ride music to the Haunt music.
Wow.
By literally just popping a CD in a CD player and pressing play and bringing the faders up. Like that's the technology they were working with. And now everything is networked audio and it's all monitorable from like a single main sound area. It's incredible what those guys have done. That was all Dickie and Larry and the old school kind of Haunt audio design guys who basically created Haunt audio and created how you do maze audio and stuff. Like they're brilliant. They've, Dickie's worked at Knott's for 30 years. Larry worked there for like 25 years. They basically created how we do this stuff. And nowadays it's so easy for me to swap out sound effects and audition stuff. They didn't have those luxuries, and it's such a trip to think back at these amazing mazes that they came up with, working with that minimal set of tools, and to think now I complain about stuff that like must have been a complete goddamn nightmare back then.
That's insane. Just like how it's just manifests to something. Just it's just crazy how the industry's just grown. I mean, a little I've known, being a fan and now being involved in it directly, but
yeah, like even Bill, he runs his audio off of an MP3 player that costs what, $20?
Yeah, it's a what is it? It's like an audio amp. Well, I have a MP3 jack boards, but the audio quality is not that great. But it'd be good for like if you had, back to the crows, right? If you had the sound, you needed a crow sound effect for one little thing. That would be beneficial. But I use the Leppy, A68 audio amplifier.
Yeah, and it has a little SD card slot on it.
Yeah, and it just loops, I set everything to a timer, which is great because the timer kicks on and it just automatically starts playing.
Yeah, that's
so I don't coming from using knockoff MP3 players, having to reset it, like play it every night. It's just these things work great.
And your lighting, right? You have those little pin spots and stuff that it's like if you think back 20-30 years ago, to set up what you're doing would have been a nightmare. It would have been exceedingly expensive, and to try to make that happen would have been a lot more difficult. We're lucky to be in today's day and age and have such cool stuff to work with and toys to play with, and hopefully we can keep coming up with cool ideas for using this stuff. I think people like John Cook are really important to the future of this industry, because they think of ways to do this stuff that it hasn't been done before, and keep it I guess forward thinking and special. We'll see what the next few years bring.
There's a lot of home hunters too that have really utilized technology.
There's some of these kids, like these youngsters.
Yeah, like shout out to the Pirates Cave. I don't know if anyone knows what that is. Just the amount of tech.
The tech they spend.
It's just it pisses me off so much. You know why? Because I will never in my life ever be able to make something like that. Well, it's so impressive.
I mentioned this earlier, but our friend Scott Erickson, he has the technology that he understands and what he can set up. He is set up at his house. He sets that stuff up to run his little front yard display or lighting or whatever. I mean, these people are brilliant. I can hit repeat on an MP3 player, but I'm not about to learn a programming language and how to program an Arduino to do the stuff that these guys can do. But I mean, it's awesome that this stuff's available to people. You can get a Raspberry Pi now for a couple of bucks and run an entire show off of it. It's awesome.
One thing that we'll give Bill credit.
Raspberry Pi is a little mini computer.
Yeah, not an actual physical pie that you can eat. Although you can get a Raspberry Pi that you can eat for a few bucks. It just won't make a good haunt maze.
One thing that we'll give Bill credit to his haunt is just the use of lighting and incorporating flannels in his monsters.
I love flannels. Man. I'll never apologize for that. Told you, Rick. I love a good flannel.
Oh my God. Well, I normally end if I don't cut it off here, we're going to have a 5-hour episode. I normally end every episode with a fantasy question, and it's going to be for Dan, the guest, and for Bill, the co-host. So what it is, I just kind of loosely come up with a concept and just throw it out to you guys. So Dan, you're sitting there obviously, and 2 portals open up. To your left, one opens up to the right. On the left portal opens up, and you have an opportunity to travel back in time. The first portal opens up, and you see Danny Elfman. Obviously, Danny Elfman, composer, sound designer, I guess, from various movies: Beetlejuice, Batman, Edward Scissorhands, Matrix movies, so forth.
Tales from the Crypt,
The Simpsons, and Desperate Housewives, which that's kind of a weird factoid. and he's like, "Hey Dan, it's 1987, and I'm about to score the soundtrack. I'm about to score the original Batman with what's his name?
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
And he's like, actually, I need help with this. And he's like, would you want to come with? At the same time, through the other time portal, you see John Carpenter. And it's this
John Carpenter.
Yes.
Can I say what movie it's going to be? So John
He's
Carpenter.
like Ghost of Mars. Okay, maybe not.
So John Carpenter comes back and he's like, and he comes through and he's like, hey, I'm making this new movie with Kurt Russell. And it's supposed to be the future in New York. And it's about a vigilante and so forth. I need help scoring this film. What film do you go with? What composer and what film and why?
So I would always pick John Carpenter, but there's a few reasons, and that may not be totally apparent. So first of all, like he's a huge influence on me. But really, the main reason that I would pick him is every single interview I've ever seen with him, every time I've heard him talk about what he does and stuff, he seems so fucking chill and cool and doesn't blow smoke up his own ass, despite the fact that he's this revolutionary filmmaker who made an independent horror film that changed horror films, right?
Mm-hmm.
And started a genre of music too.
Yep.
That too.
Is crazy.
It's like he seems like the kind of guy that I would want to spend that kind of time with and learn from. I don't know anything about Danny Elfman other than that he was in Oingo Boingo.
I was just gonna say if it was my choice, I would pick Danny Elfman, but I would say fuck that Batman movie. Let's go fucking jam to some Oingo Boingo.
Like I appreciate that he has come up with such a signature sound.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can really do what he does, and I use his stuff in Mazes. I use his stuff in Dark Ride. I think maybe not. I can't remember now. Yeah, I do. So, it's very unique, and it totally suits him, but it doesn't get me as inspired or as excited as sitting in the same room with John Carpenter would. And like when I think about the fact that he was able to make tracks with his son, like songs with his son for
right.
that
So
record, cool. I'm just like jealous of his kid, and it's like his kid got to grow up with him, but I don't even care about that. It's that he got to write music with him and see how his creative process worked.
He helped him a lot on the Halloween 2018 score too.
Yeah, they
which was absolutely fantastic.
I had that on vinyl too, actually.
Yeah, so that's like dope. That's what would make me want to work with John Carpenter. Is he seems so fucking rad. He seems like such a good, down to earth dude, and like if you watch like In Search of Darkness or any of those documentaries about horror recently that he makes appearances in, he just seems like such a gracious, good dude. And I'm sure, he's a fucking filmmaker from the 70s and 80s. I'm sure he's done a lot of shitty stuff that I don't know about, but based on what I've seen now, he seems like a kind of guy I'd want to collaborate with, or just learn something from, or just sit in the room, like fly on the wall thing, and watch him do his thing and learn stuff.
Okay. I mean, it's your fantasy question. That whatever you want to do, it could be anything. So
I would, if it's my fantasy, I would pull him through to now.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna stop you here, buddy.
And
talking fantasies.
and kiss him gently. No, I would want to grab. I'll take old John Carpenter, I don't care, and have him collaborate on some stuff for Haunt,
dude, imagine,
like do real original pieces for Not Scary Farm or LA Haunted Hayride or something like that. Imagine the MFAM radio station with real John Carpenter tracks in it.
I picture like the radio station from The Fog, like just something like that.
Yeah,
that'd be insane.
Yeah, like that's what I would want to do, is like have him score a haunted attraction that I'm working on.
That's another episode. We could talk for 3 hours. Jeez. All right. Now, next question for the co-host, Bill Galvin from Whole House Haunt and drummer and Pressure Cracks. Same scenario. One time portal opens up in your place, and you see the streets of Ghost Town. Fog rolls into your house. You cross the threshold. You see a sign. Sign says costuming that way. The other sign says build team this way. Which way do you go? Which way do you go, and what era? What I mean by era, what year would you go back in time and pick one of those choices, and why?
Definitely build team.
You son of a bitch! You're supposed to be wearing flannel as a monster.
No.
I'm just kidding.
And what's funny is like this year especially, I had my nephew and his friend help out with scare acting, and it was so much fun making their costumes. But I've just like I always loved and appreciate the build. Even being a kid at Disneyland, just seeing these facades and Main Street and forced perspective and all this type of weird trickery and shit that they use. And I never grew up knowing how to build anything, so I'm very amateur, but always have like a appreciation. I would love to go and I think I've actually seen it. Now that I think of it, I think Dan, you taking me over there, but the shop over by where Delirium was, I think.
Yeah, the scene shop over there.
Yeah,
it's somewhat near there.
Yeah, dude, it's just like I would kill to just sit in on that, and even the 13th floor warehouse. I've been there and seeing some of the props and sets and whatnot that they're currently in progress and whatnot. It's just I definitely choose that. In terms of
what era? Yeah, what era?
Like we talking like the golden years, like early 90s, 2000s.
Well, I mean, the more impressive ones would be more recent, right? I can tell you my favorite era of Haunt.
Okay.
Late 90s.
Okay. And what maze?
But most of that is
too.
due to nostalgia.
Yeah.
And the first time I went there I was in 6th grade. And the first year I went, I didn't even go in a maze. We just did like the mine ride and just walked around the streets. But it was just I remember like the Dead Man's Wharf used to be in the
Haunted Shack,
and
that older reference.
That was like right around the time when I Know What You Did Last Summer came out. Yeah. So like it was just like super like relevant at the time, and it was cool. And even like some of the early 2000s mazes were great. I remember the first time they did clowns. I don't know if it was the first time, but the first time I remember them doing clowns was under where Windjammer was.
Yeah.
You remember that, Dan? Remember that maze?
Yeah. So that wasn't the original place. It was under Kingdom of the Dinosaurs in the Buffalo Arcade, and then they moved it over there. And it was so long. It was such a long maze. Yeah. So like I agree with you. My favorite era is the late 90s as well, but I think because we were the right age to really like start to get into that, I can imagine a lot of people think like, the mid 2000s, and a lot of people think now the 2010s and now the 2021, if we, are able to do a haunt, I'm sure a lot of people think this is their favorite time, but those late 90s was a really great time.
The Inquisition, you had Dominion, Dominion of the Dead, I think.
Yeah, Elvira was at her absolute peak popularity, like culturally. Nightmares.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that one.
And I mean, honestly, if I could go back to steal your question, like my favorite times at Haunt was when I was able, like the first years I was able to drive myself, like take my girlfriend or whatever when I'm 17 years old to Haunt, and or 18 years old, and it's just us two. Every year before that, I went in these groups with my friends. Being able to go, being able to go in with just a couple people and like just enjoy the event rather than it being like this whole thing. Those were my favorite times at Haunt, and now that's my favorite thing to do on a Haunt night is like I'll take off my name badge and I'll go sit on a bench in Carnival and just watch, and just watch everybody work and just admire how incredible all the talent is and how hard they work and how good of a job they do. to sit in Ghost Town and just smell the fog and watch the monsters do their things. Like, that's, I think, like that's the stuff, that's the magic of Knott's that you can't get at a lot of other places, is like the way that street talent works there. The mazes are amazing, of course, and our production's amazing and all that, but the way that they are able to do street talent, like, can't be matched by anybody else.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, definitely good answers. Little side note: I dated a girl in spring, early summer of 2019 that apparently she worked in Dominion of the Dead. She swore by it, and she kept sending me videos of herself like in the maze. I'm like, I get it. I'm like, I fucking get it. But in her heyday, I guess she was a big Knott's person. She's gonna remain cool chick, but she's gonna remain nameless. But I was like, I get it. Okay, I get it. It was cool like in 2004. And I was like, oh well.
Well, it came back. Like, Dominion of the Dead was like a legacy attraction that everybody loved because it was different than everything else. Like, at the time that it came out, it was like moody gothic attraction, and then it closed, and then it came back. I think it's the only maze they ever resurrected, like basically did a remake of it, and were able to use the same music and stuff that was really impactful to the feel of the maze, and even the rebuilt version of it was really popular, and it was really great. That was one of the first ones that I worked on as well.
I liked it.
We did these skeleton key room things, and I remember I did a skeleton key thing where this guy did this like performance in a greenhouse, and at a certain point he lifted this like burlap stuff off of these 3 severed heads that he pretended to feed blood to. It was this crazy show. It was weird, but that was one of the first things I did audio design for, was that little skeleton key room moment. Those were kind of a new concept at the time, where people could pay extra money for a thing called a skeleton key that would get them to the front of the line and put them through a special scene in a maze that other people didn't get to see. And I did design for a lot of those early on as well. And that was a cool concept. Now you can get the key. It's called what's it called, Bill? Scare Lane or something?
Right? Fright Pass?
Fright Lane.
The Fright Lane, yeah. You pay a little.
But
it's still worth it.
But that's just they stopped doing the skeleton key rooms.
Yeah, you don't get the skeleton key rooms anymore. But it makes sense. I mean, the events are too popular now.
It's all worth it.
I did the fast fright thing the last time I went, and it was probably the best thing I ever.
I've got it the last 3 years.
It's like I just I don't like lines.
Neither do I.
Makes sense.
Well, anything you guys got to plug? Dan, anything you want to plug?
No. If you want to follow me on Instagram, there's a Grandma's Boy. That's my normal one. GARMMASBOY. And then the Mystic Frequency, or just Mystic Frequency, one of the two. I have a YouTube channel for Mystic Frequency and for my own stuff under my name. The Mystic Frequency channel has some old TPA footage that Rick didn't want to put up, that I found on an old hard drive. Some scare zone and maze footage from 2003 and 2004, and Rick West said, go ahead, put it up on your personal channel, even though it's theme park adventure content. So there's some cool old haunt footage of like opening night 2004 and stuff like that. And then the guitar pedal stuff is Spooky Vibes Effects on Instagram, or spookyvibesfx.com, and then Pressure Cracks at Pressure Cracks on Instagram and pressurecracks.com.
Bill Galvin from the Whole House Haunt.
Yeah, you can follow Whole House, which is my home haunt, and Instagram at Whole House Haunt. I don't have a YouTube.
That's HULL, not Whole House.
Yeah, it's not the whole house. It's just it's only half.
It's
the whole house.
No, it's like
HULL.
the whole of a ship. You know,
it still sounds like whole.
Whole.
Maybe it could be how I say it. I don't know. HULLHOUSEHAUNT. on Instagram. Whole House Haunt. And then I have a bunch of footage from last year, which was so much fun, and I've yet to edit it together, but I plan to do that sometime. And I want to start a YouTube channel. But for now, please follow us on Instagram. I would appreciate it.
Cool. I'll definitely put the links in the description where they can find everything, and they can find the band, your guys' projects, your personal.
Oh yeah, follow our band too. It's Pressure Cracks on Instagram, pressurecracks.com. Whatever else, it's on Spotify. Check us out.
Yeah, I'll put all that in the podcast description. Well, guys, this has been a very cool episode. I knew we're definitely gonna have fun on this. And I was warning Dan. I'm like, this is gonna be a 5-hour episode. Looks like we're looking at about 2 hours, but. Dan, thanks for coming on and sharing your stories. You're very definitely interesting, man. Bill, thanks for being a co-host.
Of course.
Looking forward to what we could do in 2021. Hopefully we get something to do. Just wishful thinking, we'll see. Once again, this is episode 14 with Dan Bieranowski. Did I say that right? I'm going to ask every time, dude. Sorry.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Haunt attraction sound designer, and just cool dude and musician and whatnot, and haunt and geek, and Bill Galvin from the Whole House Haunt, and buddy of mine. Episode 14. Wow, I'm surprised I reached episode 14, man. Want to acknowledge Zombie Donuts, sponsor for the podcast, and jazzcabbage.com. It's rad, I'm telling you. And I think that's it. That's a wrap. Thanks, guys. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
You've once again barely escaped the clutches of the Creepcast with Rick Creeper. Next time, you may not be so lucky. To find out more about the Creepcast and Rick Creeper, follow Rick on Instagram at RickCreeper11. Until next time, be sure to keep that lantern light burning. You never know what could be lurking out there in the dark.